getting kind of nervous because people are walking by. And gonna lie to you, y'all see how lame I just got? Ooh, child, I can't even with myself. For me, time is mental health, okay? Hey, it's your favorite friend Felicia, and we have another video for you this week. And this week, this was actually one of my IG story polls, or whatever you want to call them. So y'all already know that often I do polls on my Instagram stories, sometimes on my TikTok stories, to ask y'all what it is that y'all want to see. And I give y'all some options. Sometimes I open it up for y'all to just tell me what it is that you need. And this week, one of the most requested from a poll I did was 4 ways that I invest in myself inexpensively. I'm gonna go over with y'all 4 different ways that I invest just in myself as a human being. And I'm not gonna say that they are all free, but they can be very inexpensive. So I'm gonna share exactly what I do, if I spend money, how much I spend, and then I can tell you what else you can do if you want to cut back even those costs. But I don't find them to be very expensive at all. But those are just my opinions. So that being said, let's get right into the video. So the first way that I invest in myself is time. I give myself time. I make sure that I block out a specific amount of time every day to just be with me. So one thing that I make sure that I do every single day is 15 minutes I do meditation. So those meditations, it's me, the Holy Spirit, and that's it. So that's something that I'm going to do for myself 15 minutes out of every single day, no matter if it's in the morning, in the midday, in the evening. It doesn't really matter. It's going to get done every single day. But I also do other things. So I try to just be able to utilize my time wisely and utilize it in a way that's benefiting me in multiple ways. For instance, right now, obviously, I'm batch recording content for you guys, right? But in doing that, I chose a location where I could be outside, I could be in the sun, I could kind of give my body what it needs and produce content at the same time. So for me, that's making the most out of this 2-3 hours that I'm going to be, working on content and stuff like that. So it's very important for me to just be aware of my time and how I'm using it to my benefit. I feel like we live in a world where we've been conditioned to think about time as an exchange for money or for other people's time or all of these different things, and we forget to give ourselves some of it. I feel like depending on the culture that you grew up in or the background that you have or whatever the case may be, I feel like it's oftentimes we're taught that time is money. And for me, time is mental health, okay? Like, yes, the money is going to come if I take care of my mental health. So that's just how I feel about it. Everyone has their thing. So the first thing that I do is make sure that I give myself time. Time, for the most part, is free. It's yours. I can promise you that you can find some of it somewhere in your day, even when you think there isn't any. I used to be one of those people that felt like I didn't have enough time in a day, and I just realized that there were portions of my time that I was wasting because I didn't feel like I had enough of it to do anything or to finish something, so I didn't do anything. So what I mean by that is, let's say that I knew that I needed to read a chapter in my book. And let's say I knew that it was going to take me about 15 minutes to read that chapter, but I only had maybe 10 in between what I'm doing right now and the next thing that I'm doing. So I just would do nothing for those 10 minutes. I would scroll on my phone or whatever the case may be. Whereas I could be using that time to know maybe might not finish the chapter, but I'll get some of the reading done. So if I'm taking 10 minutes now, that means I only need 5 minutes later on. You see what I'm saying? So I just started thinking about my time differently, and I invest time in myself differently. So the second thing that I do for investing in myself is education or personal development. So I'm in school, grad school right now. That's more so professional development, so I'm not going to count that because obviously we know school in general is expensive when you go to college. So I'm not necessarily going to include that, but I do invest in my own personal development. So aside from what I learn in school, I also go on to learn other things. So I oftentimes read books, I listen to podcasts, I watch YouTube videos. I am constantly doing things to teach me. I enroll in different coaching programs, all of those types of things. So I find different areas of my life where I know that I want to learn more or become more aware or just get better in these areas. I constantly try to learn something new. So when it comes to content creation, for instance, I'll get on YouTube and I'll spend about an hour a day just watching different videos about content creation, about building your YouTube platform, about, how to build a business, all of these different types of things. I'm in a coaching program, so I spend 2 times a week going through a different type of curriculum and getting on training calls to be able to better myself as an entrepreneur and a business owner. And then I read books for personal development. So the one that I'm currently reading is Atomic Habits. I read so much during my sabbatical, it was crazy. I have an Amazon store of all of the books that I've read so far on sabbatical. I'll go ahead and have that in the descriptions. But learning is something that can help you in many different ways. So whether you decide to go back to community college and get like a certificate, or just, I know our local community college, they have different programs that are very inexpensive. You can take a class or two, and maybe like $50, $100 per class, which is still some money, yes, but it's not anything compared to a full 4-term, degree program or anything like that. It's still something to help you get educated. YouTube is free. Books, for me personally, I buy all of my books because I enjoy having a small library in my house. I'm a nerd. I read, I write. That's just what I do, so that's my thing. If it's not really your thing, if you're not trying to collect the books that you're reading and you just want the information, get a library card. A library card is maybe $10. I don't know, I haven't had a library card in a while, but a library card is very inexpensive, and then it gives you access to all of those different books that are in there. You can also, if reading isn't your thing, listen to podcasts. Find podcasts about the topics that you're interested in and listen to podcasts. Find YouTube creators, listen to those YouTube channels. If you want the knowledge that's in a book, because I'm not going to lie to you, everything that we as creators share is nothing compared to what's in a book. What we share is just a small summary of all of the different things that may have read in all these different books or picked up from other people who've read in different books. So it's not going to, replace that. So if you're not a reader per se, but you can listen, get Audible. I'll put a link down below where you can get Audible, and Audible is basically audiobooks. It gives you access to audiobooks. It does have podcasts and stuff on there as well, but the biggest thing is getting knowledge, getting information. Whatever you can do to educate yourself more, to just grow personally, do that. And no, I don't just read self-help books all the time, but I didn't used to read them at all, and I had to make myself do it. And now I absolutely love it, especially after being in like a spiritual journey on a sabbatical. Reading became my best friend because it opened my mind up so much. So I definitely invest in myself with personal development in the form of education, learning, just obtaining knowledge. So the third way that I invest in myself is through therapy. Now, I do pay out of pocket for therapy. I go twice a month, and it's $160 per session. So I pay $320 a month for therapy. However, if you have insurance, most insurances cover therapy nowadays, so you may pay a $25 copay or something like that. If you have insurance that may not cover it, but you have a job, check with your job. They may have an EAP program or an employee assistance program where they can get you access to these different types of counselors. Me personally, I wanted a therapist that I chose that, was best for me, but whatever you have access to, utilize it to your benefit until you can get something different. So utilize the EAP program if your job has one, utilize your insurance. And then if you want to pay out of pocket, I don't think all therapists charge the same, so you could just shop around. This is just what my therapist charges, and this is what I'm willing to pay because I know that for me, that's something that I need. I would highly recommend anyone try therapy out at least a couple times in their life, because whether you have mental health struggles or not, it's something you can always utilize that additional opinion. Now, that being said, if therapy is not really something that you are interested in, I would still suggest creating a therapy-like atmosphere. What I mean by that is get a friend or two, get a friend group to where you know that when y'all get together, the purpose of this particular interaction is to pour into one another. So get a friend, get two friends where y'all maybe twice a month you make it a habit to go out to dinner, to just kind of vent, to encourage one another, whatever the case may be. Maybe you join a Facebook group for something specific or whatever. Create or get involved in some type of community that can be therapeutic for you, that can give you the release that you may need, that can give you the encouragement, that can introduce you to new skills that you might be able to introduce. Either way, do something that's therapeutic for yourself to give you access to other people's information in a way that is like people that actually care about you, because there's a difference in between what my therapist shares with me, the skills that my therapist gives me, and what my coach gives me. You see what I'm saying? So those are two different types of things. Now, they could probably both give me something of similar, the same thing, but that's not what their roles are in my life. So you just have to find those areas where you can dedicate those roles to be able to invest in yourself in those ways, if you so choose. And the fourth thing that I do to invest in myself, believe it or not, is actually content creation. The journey of content creation for me has been a rough one, and I've just gotten to a point to where I'm able to reflect on it a little bit more. So getting up here, making these YouTube videos, sharing life experiences with y'all, it requires me to first self-reflect. It requires me to first think of the topic, think of what the points are that I want to make, and then go back and revisit, points in my life where that actually transpired, so that I can share the most genuine pieces of me with y'all. So for me, that is an investment, because every time I get in front of the camera and I create content, I'm learning something new, I've reflected on something new, I'm sharing something new. So for me, content creation is something that allows me to better myself, for one, in the process, because just the psychology of my mind around sitting in front of this camera, editing these videos, proceeding to post it, and then promote these videos on my other social media platforms, it's a lot. However, I'm investing in myself, one, mentally, by reflecting and just remembering all of the things that I've learned and the things that I have of value to share to people, but also it's setting me up in the future, because what I'm doing right now can potentially get me paid 2-3 years from now. For all I know, somebody's watching the video that I'm sitting here making in 2022 over there in 2025. You know what I'm saying? So it's an investment that's long term, because the effort and the work that I'm putting into content creation now can be very lucrative for me over time. And I already know that that's something that can and will happen, so that's why I continue to do this. So just a quick little recap on the things and the ways, these are just four of the ways that I invest in myself. And when I'm talking about investing in myself, I'm literally just talking about something that I do for me that I'm expecting a return on, right? So the first thing was time. I put time into myself. I spend time with myself. I set aside time each day to do something that's going to better me. And sorry, I feel like I keep shaking this camera. But anyway, the second thing was personal development, and education. So I'm constantly reading things, listening to different people and their opinions and their viewpoints. I'm researching. I'm trying to find what will work for me, and I'm trying to find other people's perspectives that give me a better understanding of myself. So, and these first two things are things that can virtually be done for free. Library card, get a library card. You can go over to the library and you can read all the books you want. You can get on the YouTube channel and scroll for hours. You can get on a podcast, you can listen for hours. You can also spend a little bit of money for your personal development and have different types of memberships. Kindle, I don't think I mentioned Kindle earlier, but Kindle is another platform. It gives you access to unlimited resources or unlimited books, right? So instead of a library card, you may pay a Kindle membership. So now you have access to all of these digital books that you pay however many dollars it is, each day or whatever. So them, and then Audible. If you're not into reading but you prefer to listen, maybe a subscription to something or a platform like Audible or buying audiobooks may help you a little bit more. All the links and all of that kind of stuff is below, whatever. But anyway, so we got time, we got personal development. I also go to therapy. Now therapy, the price may vary depending on your location, but depending on your financial status, your insurance status, all of this kind of stuff. But therapy is important for me. So if you don't have the funds or the resources at the moment to engage in in therapy with someone who's licensed, then create some type of therapeutic environment for you. Whether it's, a man cave or a woman cave or, friends that go out. You need to create something that gives you an out and gives you access to other people. So we got time, we got education and personal development. The third thing was therapy. Now the price for therapy, as we've already discussed, it varies depending on your location, your employment, or financial and insurance status, all of these different kinds of things. But even if you don't invest in therapy, invest in a friendship. Find a relationship that can provide that pouring into you. And then the fourth thing was content creation. Content creation gives me an out to reflect. It is also setting me up for financial success in the future. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what it is that you guys want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video.